Page 90, The Shadow of Your Smile. This beautiful piece, you're going to love it. It's kind of a love song and a ballad thing. It's all mixed in, so it's got some things in it we need to talk about. As far as the eighth notes goes, we're going to play them evenly. There's no swinging on this thing. So at the beginning, watch the fingering, because you're going to get this pattern a lot, and you just finger it the same every time. It's right hand, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Using all 5 fingers for that chord. And everywhere you see that, just use this fingering. Bring out the melodies, the top note in the right hand. You just see that all over the place. It's gorgeous. Second line, the last 2 measures. You're starting out with a 1-3 on the dotted half note. They're saying put the thumb on the quarter note. I disagree. I say put second finger on it because I want to connect the melody here to here. And then you can use 3 and 5 for the whole note. Then I've connected this. And that's what I want to do. And then for the next measure, the first measure, the third line, I put the thumb on the E, hold the B down. And then you can lift up because it's a new phrase. Third line, third measure, the B, 2-1. Play it with the second finger and then substitute the thumb. It's good, I like that. And the last measure, the third line, it's a 1-4. You're going to hold the G down. So the second finger plays the D sharp, and then the next measure, the last line there, the first measure of the D natural. So, all the while you're holding that G down. I like that, it's very nice. And then again, a new phrase. And they're saying third finger, that's fine, because you're going to cross over, put the fourth finger on the F sharp, and that's what you want. You want the fourth finger on the F sharp. And then third measure over again is this 2-1. It's fine. Don't have to. You can just leave the second finger if you can reach up the G from there. If your hand's big enough, then you don't need to do the finger substitution. Top of page 91, you see those 2 little lines called a caesura. On railroad tracks, it means pause. It means just suddenly stop, complete silence just for a moment, and then you carry on. When I do it with a metronome, I just add 1 beat. Be 5 beats in the measure. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I just pause for 1 beat. When you're actually doing it, you're not timing how long you pause. You feel the pause. You're just, oh. And listen to this, a recording of this piece. I mean, you'll understand, I think, a little better about this pause thing. I'm trying to describe. Can't describe it very well. On page 91, second line, last 2 measures, again we have the same thing we had before. It was a 1-3. They're saying a 1. Now here you pretty much have to, because you need a 2-5 on the whole note. But you got a pedal here. The pedal's going to help you out. I'll talk about the pedal in a little bit. So that's going to connect. And then going on to the third line is fourth finger on the B. And another pause, another caesura, 1 beat, and then a rest for 1 beat. So we're going to be quiet for 2 beats on this one, and then we go on. It's a pretty neat piece. I like this piece. In the left hand, it's just accompanying, and it's providing a very interesting kind of a bossa nova type beat here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and slowly, because it's important that you get this rhythm at the beginning. It's a 1 and 2 and 3 as it's tied. You're not going to play on 3, you're holding down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's the rhythm for a lot of this. Over on page 91, you have this walking bass thing going. It's walking the other direction, but it's still walking. If you want, you can play the, again, top page 91 left hand, 2, 1. you can do a 3 on the D sharp, because then you're in position to do on the next measure a 5, 3, 2. You don't have to put a thumb on a black note if you don't want, and you're in position to go on. Next line, starting with the second measure, you're here. You're saying 4th finger on the D. The idea is so you don't have to put a thumb on a black note. Then, 3rd line down, you have the G sharp, and then a pause, and a rest, and then go on. 2, 1, and that puts you back in the rhythm you had on the previous page. Oh, that sounds lovely, don't it? Last measure, 3rd line, page 91. Here, I recommend a third finger on the F natural. That way on the next measure you can use 4 and 2 on the chord. Works for me. That's pretty much it. Last measure, you're just going to roll up. You can use 2nd finger or 3rd finger. I prefer 3rd finger because it's easier for me to reach the B with 3rd finger than 2nd. But if you prefer 2nd, it's up to you, but I prefer 3rd on the D. As far as roadmap, you just play through it one time. Pedaling, let's talk this pedaling. It starts at the top of page 91, and it's just legato pedal for the most part, but I want to adjust it slightly. Start with the 2nd measure of page 91. There at the top where the pedal comes in. We're going to be overlap pedal there for a couple measures, so it's here. I prefer to have that C, the quarter note C, by itself. There's a rest in the left hand. I would lift the pedal up there so the C is by itself. So again, those 2 measures. Then you can put it down right after you play the notes in the last measure. To lift the pedal up when you play the notes in the 2nd line there, as you play them, immediately lift the pedal up. You're going to keep the hand down when you play the B, lift the hand up when you play the E. Here. Going on, 2nd line is again, it's like the 1st line. And I lift the pedal up so that D, the quarter note D, is by itself. But don't lift it up too soon because we need to connect the D to the previous note and we got to use the thumb again. So that's a little tricky. You pretty much have to lift the pedal up at or right after you play the D, the last beat. So those 2 measures on the 2nd line is here. We want it connected, but we want it by itself. Then I lift it up as I play the first notes in the 3rd line. Pause, rest. Again, we're using pedal here for contrast because nothing else is pedaled. We want this beat, and they don't give you articulation in it. It's up to you to feel the articulation. Where do you think maybe a long staccato might go? You know. Experiment and see the articulation. You're not going to play all that legato in the left hand. You'll get it as you play it. You'll feel that. But for those 2 lines there at the top of page 91, we want that legato. We want lots of overtones. So that's pedaled, and that's it. However, I would recommend something I've never recommended in any of these videos. We add pedal in one spot. Did I recommend? I don't remember. Something I seldom ever recommend is adding more pedal. Usually I take it out. And that is on the last measure. So if I play the last 2 measures here, because you're retarding, and then for the last measure, I recommend you pedal that measure. So we get the overtones at the end. It's just, you have to be careful because you're slowing down and getting softer, and the pedal can fight that. So you have to kind of fit it all together. So the last line would be that. neutral lines there over those eighth notes, stretch those out. So you don't accent them, you stretch them out. And I would pedal that last measure. And then the pedal and the hands come up the same. And I'm going to hold that dotted quarter note 6 counts instead of 3 because of the fermata. Let's try this out together and see what happens. Could be fun. Now we're just going to go slow. You can speed it up on your own, and I'm sure you're going to find recordings of this. 4/4 time, but it has a pickup because that first measure isn't 4 counts. It's only 2.5 counts. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm going to give you 4 plus 1.5. 2.5? 2.5. 4 and 2.5. Too much math. Let's just do this. Right hand, left hand, foot's on the pedal. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and ready and go. Pause. Rest. Hold, 2, 3,